Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Let's Talk again. I'm here with a very awesome person. He's a very talented comedian and performer, MC, Lunga Tshuka, who, you can say hi to everyone, Lunga. Here we are live.
Hey. Oh, can they see me?
Yeah, they can
What's
see
up? What's up, South Africa?
you.
Yo,
so,
how's it going?
first off, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, man. Very, very good. Just been holding up, trying to be safe and doing whatever with my movements or so, trying to be safe out there. But yeah, insane with my daily activities. And yourself?
Same, man. Just trying to keep my head above water, so to speak. It's
Yeah.
been a rough few weeks, and it's about to get even rougher now because of the speech yesterday or last
Yeah.
night. But yeah, hopefully we can weather the storm, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get into anything, I do have to, Longa, if you don't mind, I have to mention this now on every
Yeah.
stream because I need people to be aware of it. And I want people to know that I am not for this, but I'm doing this as a sacrifice
Yeah.
in the hopes that I can get to at least more subscribers. So I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna tell you what it is. All right, it's me getting a tattoo if I get to 5K subscribers before the 16th of August. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into detail. The link is in the
Yeah.
description below. There's a link that will take you to my website where it explains all the stuff. But suffice it to say that I don't like. I got one tattoo, and I promised never again.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, well, I want to get more subscribers. I feel like I need to put something on the table to encourage people. I
Yeah.
don't I don't like tattoos. Like I don't mind people having them. And like I said, this is a very
Yeah.
meaningful tattoo to me. I never thought I
Yeah.
would get another one, and I feel like that's a fair comp or a fair sacrifice to make in order to promote or get people to subscribe and share this information. So please go to the link, check it out. I'm obviously
Yeah.
rooting for me to not hit 5K. Um, I mean, if I
What kind
get
of tattoo would you get though?
sorry.
What kind of tattoo would you get
Well, that's the
if you were to
thing.
get?
The people get to decide.
Ah,
So
yo, guys, say he must get a huge picture of Pablo Escobar on his back,
don't give them any ideas, especially ones like that.
like in Entourage. I don't know if you've seen the series Entourage.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, well, it's pretty old. Let's not get into that. It's 2020.
Yeah, so that's the challenge I've given out. I'm hoping I get like 4,000K. That'll be fine, but we'll see. If people want to, so yeah, people get to decide throughout from now uh, till the 15th. I'll be having live streams with the audience, and then we'll be spitballing some ideas, and then we'll choose like a top three, and then we'll do a poll, and then yeah, whatever they decide, I have to get it. So yeah, that's the challenge in a nutshell. But go check out the link. Anyway, enough about that. We are here to discuss some important things. Well, I think it's important. I don't know. You recently had a conversation with me about your opinions on influencers. So let's start with this. I think it's
Dun,
important.
dun, dun.
I think it's important to first define what an
Yeah,
influencer is. I mean, we all know what a performer is. I mean, that's. I mean, if you
yeah,
if you don't, then Google because I don't have time.
yeah.
So, an influencer is yeah. So, what is an influencer? An influencer is let's see here, an individual who has the power to affect purchases or purchase decisions of others because of his or her authority. That's one definition. Another one is an influencer is someone in your niche or industry with sway over your target audience. An
Yeah,
influencer assists companies to influence marketing or influencer marketing, uh, a form of advertising that builds brand authority on the back of another person's reputation. I think that's probably the best definition
Yeah.
in the context of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So a performer is me and Lunga.
Yeah.
I don't,
Artists.
yeah, artists. I come from a theater background. I studied theater for 2 years. I graduated top of my class. Lunga, I believe you also have a great deal in theater and experience in that too.
Yeah, well, I come from the street, man. You know, from the Bronx. Well, I've been an artist since 2002. You know, I'm starting with breakdancing, and going to events and performing at schools and things and attending competitions. You know, up until around about 2006, and then moved on to emceeing from 2007 onward. And that's MC as in Master of Ceremonies,
Mm-hmm.
not the rapper MC. Um, from there, then up until 2012, I started embarking into comedy as well. So, but I've been in the arts since 2002, and just being surrounded with artists and surrounded in that, like in the industry, learning and growing.
Yeah, that's almost 20 years of experience in the entertainment industry, which is quite a while. That's quite epic. All right, so what is it that we want to say about influencers versus performers? Are you necessarily against influencers?
Um, no, not at all.
Okay.
First thing I want to say is that this whole thing that we actually even having this competition, this war, this argument, this comparison, like that needs to stop. First of all, that needs to stop. It doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve the people that we're trying to reach. It doesn't serve the people that we are. It doesn't serve the message that we are trying to put out there. And simple law of attraction, man. What you focus your energy on is what you manifest in your life. So the more you're going to be hating and the more you're going to be talking bad or doing bad things out there, the more it's going to be brought to you, to your attention. The more you're going to see it and the
Yeah.
more you're going to be focusing on that. And that's just that will eventually become your reality, and you think everywhere you turn and that's just what you're spilling out. So the whole confusion and the whole kind of war that we're having with each other, I feel like that should come to an end. Um, what I've noticed as an artist, right, coming up, is that there's kind of been a shift in the way that how we sell ourselves as artists. Way back in the day, you could get around with word of mouth. You could just like tell them, like, if you're good. Some people will sometimes you will get a random call and be like, hey, I got your number from this guy. I heard that you're a comedian. I got a gig for you. Boom. And then you book the gig. And sometimes you just needed like something like a bio, so like a 1-pager or 2-pager. And then that was enough to get you into the door with gigs, and to get you into the door with many opportunities for a while. And then as social media became a tool for marketing and social media became a more interesting tool, not just as for people to post random things, but also for business. And I started noticing when I was going to these meetings now and meeting with clients, and I'm coming with the old ways of presenting my bio and everything. Then they would ask, okay, so do you have any content? And I'd be like, oh, okay. I never thought of that, because back in the day, it's just word of mouth, or like they either see you invite them to come to see you, right? Or they just get your number from someone. And it was just like easy like that. They would get gigs. But now things have shifted where content has become more important and your social media presence. And I think a lot of artists probably are still trying to grasp the whole transition with that. So, so some things can be quite confusing. And with the whole content and all of that stuff, comes the brand, and your brand portrays like who you are and like what you stand for, your business, your craft, and all of those things, right? So social media back then, people never used it to portray their brand. It was more of your personal life. So you had pictures of you and your mates drinking and all of those
Yeah.
things, or mixed up with if you were rapping, and there's like one picture of you rapping there, whatever. But so many other things going on in social media, and some of it is just like rubbish, you know. And with this whole shift of the whole social media becoming an important tool, I feel like what we used to look at back then as brand ambassadors, or what we still look at as brand ambassadors, they've also now kind of like taken the shift as well onto the social media platform, and we call them now influencers because they're doing the exact same thing as the brand ambassadors have been doing, you know. And it's just that and if you actually look at these influencers and you look at some of their pages, they're quite polished, you know. They have like photo shoots, you know, for their photos is done, you know. Their message is quite clear, what they're trying to, who they are, and what they're trying to achieve and what they're trying to do, you know. And the content is actually really, really good. So I wouldn't say that I actually have a problem with him. I would have to be, I think it would be something for myself. I think it would be something more personal if I were to pick out something and be like, you know what, I actually don't like your hair or whatever, you know, like why is he getting all the jobs and he's so tall, whatever, you know. So it's not something that what I'm actually sharing tonight is just an opinion and trying to share a different perspective. So I'm not going to touch on facts or stuff like that. I'm not here to debate or not here to upset anyone, you know. We actually just trying to get a better perspective, I guess. That's the aim of this whole thing, right?
Yes. I'm going to just quickly go to the comments. Everyone's saying hi. Robin's saying, I'm caught between two streams, Joe, but I'm here. That's okay. So if you have any questions, anyone that's watching, please feel free to ask. We are more than happy to answer your questions as well. So cool. I like what you're saying. I'm going to give you my opinion.
Yeah,
It might turn into a little bit of a debate, but I
cool.
mean, I think you and I will agree on most of the principles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I too don't necessarily have a problem with influencers, and I like how you compared it to a brand ambassador because that's actually quite true. You're absolutely right. That's kind of it's shifted in that regard. What
Yeah.
I don't like about influencers is they seem to lack the etiquette of theater, the etiquette
Mm.
of professionalism, the etiquette
Yeah.
of just how things are done. I'll give you an example. I once got contacted on Instagram, on my DM, by someone who I'm not gonna lie. He had like over 100,000 followers, so he's an
Yeah.
influencer, you know. And he messages me and says, "Hey man, I see that you run open mic nights. Can I get a slots and can I headline? And don't worry, I'll make sure that you get like a full house or whatever." Um,
Yeah.
and he said, "Check out my Instagram to see my content." And
Yeah.
it was like typical. He's a guy that just makes skits, short skits.
Uh-huh.
Stuff like, "What do you think when this happens?" Or when you're in this situation, and then there's like a punchline in
Yeah.
the way he acts and stuff like that, or something he
Yeah.
says. Some of it's hacky, which means it's been done before, and some of it was original, and some of it was really funny. I'm not saying that he didn't
Yeah.
have a talent for what he's doing. But my problem was, and I told him this, I said, look, when you perform live in front of an audience, that's a different ballgame than making a
Yeah.
video in which you've scripted and you've had a chance to edit and redo and cut and all that stuff. And then when you have the finished product, you release it. When it's
Yeah.
live, you need to rehearse before and then make sure that it's perfect when you're on stage, and then even then you may never be ready. It's a whole different ballgame. And some
Yeah.
of the stuff
Uh-huh.
that I've seen on his Instagram wouldn't necessarily translate on stage. So I said the best thing for you to do is probably come to an open mic night, meet some of the guys, see how it is, and then eventually get your time.
Yeah.
And then I also addressed the fact that he asked to be a headliner, where I said, like, look, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
We need to see you on stage first.
Yeah.
And then when I said like usually how it works is you go to an open mic night, you get 5 minutes, and then you grow and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I never heard from him again. Um,
Yeah.
so I think that's my what I'm trying to say is my issue with influencers is I don't want to say issue, but the one thing that I think influencers
Yeah.
lack is just knowing that there is a difference between doing what they do and then being a
Yeah.
live entertainer. You know,
Yeah.
would you agree with that?
Yes, 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 no, definitely. Especially like there's actually been a stir on something similar to that not too long ago. And yes, especially with that guy, I feel like what a lot of people, some people do not understand is that especially with comedy, I've seen this with comedy so many times. They think that comedy is easy,
Mm,
like you just step on stage and you just say whatever. They don't understand that it's an art form, and with art there's its foundation, and there's something like delivery, there's styles, there's comedic style, there's timing, delivery, there's gimmicks, and all of those things that they do not take into consideration. And we as comedians, we work so hard on all of those little elements that when we're performing, everything looks polished. It looks like I'm just a funny guy that you know, or just a funny guy that you meet. But these are rehearsed jokes. These are timed jokes. These are punchlines that are set up. These is buildings and build-ups to everything, you know. So they don't understand it. And he was probably riding on the fact that he's got so much followers and that he's doing so well in his content, thinking now that he can jump on another platform and think that he's still the same person,
yep.
and he would actually see himself very, very short if he had to actually come to your stage. And if you actually had to give him like the opportunity to be like, dude, I don't think that you're gonna survive, but I'm still give it to you and see what. Like, I think that it was chances are he would have failed because not just him. Like, there's so many people. I've there's been like 1 or 2 gigs that I've been to, and this one guy stepped on stage and he was watching a couple of guys. It was at Armchair, and it was like an open mic platform. He stepped on stage and he thought that what we were doing so easy, like we just getting on stage and we just silly and whatever. And he thought, okay, he's gonna get on stage without preparing anything. He didn't know where he was.
Mm.
He was covering his eyes for the spotlight. The spotlight that's supposed to be in your face. He's covering from everything, and he's getting lost, and he's all of a sudden the pressure and the people. So it's like a completely different ball game when you're stepping into another industry. So it's only like to show respect that you try to like start from the beginning or do some research. Don't just come and be like, you know what, I'm a black belt in karate, so you better put me last on your MC stage, because I'm gonna kill it tonight. No, then a kid comes and he kills you and he takes you out, because that kid is like real hip hop or whatever.
But
Um,
but
I do
that's
believe though, if you're an influencer and if you maybe take the time out
mm,
to respect the art and learn something
mm,
about how it's done, and then you can then by all means I applaud you for
yeah.
branching out, and for like expanding your thing. But if you just doing something and you kind of like don't pay respect to it or mocking it, you're gonna offend the people who take it seriously,
Mm.
both the crowd and the artists.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you for saying that. I've also seen it, where some influencers, and again, not all of them,
Yeah,
just some of them, that, the number of followers gets to their head, because then they think that
yeah,
that's power. And that's probably because of the brands that they work with, the brands,
yeah,
they hire them, they say, cool, you have X amount, we'll give you X amount of money, awesome. But again, being an Instagram influencer, being a YouTuber, being a Facebook influencer, even is not the same when you go on stage. Stage, and maybe I don't know. Maybe I know it in terms of comedy. Maybe if you're a singer, like maybe you've always like I don't know rapped and done songs on only on social media, right?
yeah.
Do you think someone who has a big following who does that on social media could cope if they went onto a live stage? I mean, obviously, eventually they would
And
have
if
to.
and if yeah, and if they're not familiar with live stage performance and they're more so familiar with content, instead.
Mm.
That I think no, it's a completely different ball game. When you get on stage, it's not just about your content. You could have rehearsed like all day and all night. But if you haven't performed, let's just say, for example, let's just say you as a comedian, right? Let's just say you've been doing comedy for a long time now, right? You take a 3-year break of stage, or 4 years of stage, right?
Yeah.
And then you come back. You know the stage, you know everything. You come back and you know what it takes. You know how to write material. You know how to do all of your things, right? You know, and you're like, I'm just gonna bring back some of my golden oldies, my good jokes and everything. You know your stuff, right? On that day that you step on stage, before you step on stage, you're gonna go through that emotions. You know why? Because there's that energy, and all of that, and there's how you present when you're on stage. There's so many different things that comes into play that makes your performance excellent on stage.
Yeah.
Projecting, connecting, energy, all of that, exchanging, when to tone it, when to keep it low, when to take it up. Those things you don't practice on a video. Those things, and with a video, you can edit your content and whatever, and you can rehearse differently to your content, whatever. But having the pressure of people sitting there, the crowd roaring, or the crowd not laughing, or the energy of the crowd, that's a completely different ball game. So, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
Valid points. And I think I did touch on that with the guy that messaged me. Like I said, like it's a different ball game. Learning. Like, what if someone heckles you? Like, if you're performing in front of a camera, no one's gonna heckle you.
Yeah.
It's just you and the camera. But
Mm-hmm.
heckling is a real thing, I mean, even for first timers that go on stage that have maybe been in the game for 6 months to maybe a year, still struggle with hecklers, and that's nothing wrong with that. Takes time for you to gain the confidence and learn how to deal with hecklers. But they are out there, and I don't think an influencer would be able to deal with a heckler. And I think, again, I'm not trying to bash influencers. I appreciate them wanting to come to stand-up comedy, and again, I'm speaking on behalf of, or I'm speaking about specifically stand-up comedy because that's the industry I'm a part of. Any influencer is allowed to come into entertainment and into stand-up comedy. Just, again, it's the process. I think this guy thought that when I told him, like, yeah, but you got to do 5 minutes and there's a process and blah blah blah. I think he was maybe offended, or he's like, oh, well, I don't have time for that shit. I'll just do my own show, or whatever. And that's fine. You want to go out and do your own show, that's absolutely fine. I'm not stopping you. I'm just saying that there are certain standards in the industry, and you can't just rock up because you have 250,000 followers and be like, yo, I'm here. I'm headlining your show. No, I don't know you. And like we just discussed, it's a risk. But that's pretty much the only the only issue or problem or hurdle I have with influencers. Other than that, I respect what they do. I really do, because again, they're brand ambassadors. They do put a lot of work into what they do every day. I mean, shit, some of these guys every day are putting content out there, like, just every day. And I can't even, like, that's one big difference. Me being a comedian, yes, I'm putting content every day out, but again, it's not the same. Like, these guys are doing short videos, funny. Some of them are funny, some of them are informative, some of them are whatever, in whatever category they are in, makeup or whatever it is. They're every day, bump, 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 which is amazing, and that I respect, and that's something I wouldn't be able to do as like, I don't know anything about makeup. I wouldn't even know where to start. So for that, I respect it. I think they
maybe you could do something about tattoos.
Exactly. So I think influencers and performers, I think that's the biggest difference that people need to understand, is that being an influencer doesn't necessarily mean that you can perform live. But a performer can be an influencer. Because obviously, like, if you're a performer, you're really good like, if you're Trevor Noah, you're an influencer.
Yeah, you just need to understand like the whole idea of creating content and your brand and all of those things. That's why anyone it's easy to become an influencer if you're confident
Yeah.
and if you understand marketing and if you understand like how to sell a brand and all of those things and how to just stay relevant. Like you said, sometimes they're posting funny clips, sometimes they're posting clips about them being at home and arguing with a relative or something like that. And sometimes they do because like once your content is good, brands actually reach out to you. You'll
Mm.
get a text like you'll get a DM, be like, hey, we like your content, we want to send you this and that, or we want to send you this and that, and then
Mm.
they do videos on that. So yeah, I think I lost my point. But
That's
oh
a
yes. But yes, like if you understand that as an artist, you can do that. But here's the thing, just to touch on what you said, we say influence is not necessarily the same thing. Influence can just walk into anything, any art form as performance. Now, to touch on that, just to actually broaden it and make it a generalized thing. I don't care if you're an influencer, I don't care if you're a doctor or whatever, just because of what you are, you're so amazing in what you are. It doesn't mean that you can just step into any art form and expect to be chilling with like the big dogs or like
yeah.
expect a position because you're a CEO somewhere else. If you're a CEO and you want to come to karate class, guess what? You're going to start at the white belt. You're not going to be, you can't tell them, hey, but I'm a CEO of a company. You got to show me some respect. Start me at brown belt. No, brother, you're going to start at the white belt. That's just how art works. You
Mm.
start at the beginning, you start at the foundation, you learn, you go on the rope. So that guy with his whole idea approaching you with saying that, hey, I've got all this content and I've got all of these things and all of this experience, all of these followers and all of that stuff, wanting to step onto a stage for an experience slot. Not just any slot, an experience slot. Does he even know about open micers? Does he even know about support to host, to headline? Does he even know like how it goes and how you grow and all of that? He doesn't know any of that stuff. So it would be very offensive to us as comedians who
Mm.
appreciate the art. And people actually follows of comedy who appreciate the art too.
Mm.
They will pick it up because they watch comedy, they know some comedy. So it's like I feel like it's selfish of him to think that the audience wouldn't pick that up,
Yeah.
like they're just gonna be cool with it or whatever. Like you need to treat your audience like someone always told you, teach your audience like it's a lady, you need to charm her, you need to make her feel good, you need to always make her feel smiling and just inspire her, just bring out that goodness because when she's feeling good, you're feeling good. Same
Exactly.
with the audience. So you gotta do that same kind of feel, don't just come there and expect like, yo, I'm the man, I'm the dog. No, just take it easy, brother.
I
Take it
think
easy.
I think when if I was like I've seen a few. Well, I haven't seen. I think I've seen one influencer try, but there's been. I can imagine what they would do is they would just go on and quickly run through their stuff. There would be
Mm,
no, like you said earlier, no pauses, no building of the relationship with the audience. Interacting with the audience, and they might try and interact with the audience, but they wouldn't know what to say if the audience says something back, and there's no
yes.
pace, there's no rhythm, there's no beat, there's just pandemonium and complete chaos on the stage. But again, if an influencer wants to do it, just do it right. Just like, um,
Exactly.
I don't, like you just said. Now I'm not gonna go to a doctor and be like, hey, or a dentist and be like, hey, can I pull out your patient's tooth? Like, I'm not gonna do that. You know.
Yeah. I got 30 years in comedy,
Yeah.
I'm somewhat also professional in my game, so I'm probably going to be a professional in your
I've
game.
got ten
So
thousand
you mind if I pull out
followers.
someone's feet?
I got 10,000 followers.
That's so funny.
I can pull out a
Imagine.
tooth.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious, bro. Yo, check it out. Check me out, yo.
Yeah, look at
10,000
my
followers.
content.
I just did a post last week, 10K followers, bro. Check me out.
Oh man.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
and then also, I think on some degree, as we just mentioned, an influencer can't necessarily be a performer, but a performer can be an influencer. I think the risk here is also on the brands because sometimes maybe a brand wants an influencer to MC, but again, doesn't have that
Yes.
experience, of because
Yes.
MCing is
Yes.
you and I both know emceeing,
Yes.
even if you're a comedian, like there are comedians who don't MC because
Yes.
emceeing is another kind of performance. It's yes, you can be funny when you MC. Obviously, I've seen a
Yes.
lot of MCs that aren't comedians that are funny, but that's because they
Yes.
have a certain routine in their head and they stick with it no matter what show they're doing. Um,
Yeah.
so an MC, the point of an MC is to keep the show moving, interact with the
Yes.
audience, make sure they're okay, make them
Mhm.
fall in love, like you said, make them fall in love with the show and stuff like that,
Yes.
and welcome the artists. All around, just it's not about the MC.
Mm.
It's the MC. It's not about the MC. A lot of people who or comedians and performers who host or MC, they think, oh, I'm the host. It's all about me. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
No, no, no. It's about the performers actually, and it's about the audience. Like you are there just to do the pleasantries. That's it. Welcome
Yeah.
people, the rules, all that
Set the
stuff.
mood.
Set the
Set,
mood. Exactly.
yeah. Give them
Um,
information. We're having a break now. This is happening. We're going to be starting with this. Your headline is coming up next.
exactly.
Get some. The toilets is over there. Yeah.
Now you throw an influencer into that who's never done any of those things, or doesn't know the rules or etiquettes and all that
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
The brand expected, hey, you do so well, you have
Yeah.
so many followers,
Yes. Yeah.
and then it hurts guys like
You
us.
see, yes, that's the difference. That is the difference right there because these brands, they're not aware of, like, for example, you and I, let's just take you and I for an example. Let's say I'm an influencer and you the real comic or the real MC, right? And you are good live. You're killing it. You're doing your thing, but you maybe you struggle to put videos on. You're struggling with your social media and all that stuff because you actually get people who handle these things for you.
Yeah.
So you struggle to all that stuff. So your followers are quite low, right? But you're a pretty good MC, like word of mouth and all of that. And then you get me, who do funny home videos, but
Mm.
I'm killing it with the content. Killing it with the content, and I'm not used to presenting in live in front of people. And then the brand sees, okay, who are we going to go with? They'll be like, oh, this guy has a huge pool. He's got a huge influence. He's got a huge reach. We're going to go with this guy. So they, I'm sure like some of them also are shocked, or they just also see at the end at the gig like, okay, like your skill, maybe this person arrived late. Little etiquette, like you said, little
Yeah.
etiquette things like you arrived late, you didn't ask for all the information, you didn't tell them that the bus is leaving, you didn't do this, all these little things that we take note as an MC. And then it's you see, and they'll also like shiver, but I think like it's we as artists, we need to focus on what makes us look attractive so that the brands can notice us too. Because that's always going to be our challenge when we come up, because that's, I said, there's been a shift now. Because now we're going to, like, we coming and saying, like, yo, I'm the man for the job, but our content doesn't show that. Or where they could see, like, no, this guy is funny. A lot of, like, 10,000 people think he's funny. He's probably the man for the job. And then the actual job is a different ballgame because you need an actual artist to pull it off the job. So I think we just need to find like ways of how we could elevate our presence as well so that we can also be noticed in that way. But it's not to say that there's something that is fishy going on here, that why influencers, because a lot of artists actually feel like that there's not enough pie, or they're being pushed out of so many things, like they're not being seen, and influencers are getting the light now. So a lot of artists feel that way. So different artists in different art forms, they feel like, why aren't we being seen? Why is the hype only about the art? Why is the hype only about the influencers? Why are they getting the jobs? Why are they getting this and that? Why? It's not something. It's not someone being funny. It's more of just focus on your brand and try to figure out, look at it in a positive way and be like, what is he doing that I'm not doing?
Yeah.
What am I not doing that he's doing?
I think
That he's being noticed.
I think you bring up a very, very good point here. So anybody who's watching this, as whether you're a performer, actually any performer that's watching this, I was told maybe 2, 3 years ago by a marketing company. I approached one because, like you just said, it's not all performers are brand savvy and all that stuff. So
Yes.
I was struggling to get myself noticed by more than just my direct circles and networks.
Yes.
So I approached a marketing person, and again, in terms of a comedian, not I don't know about anyone else, but from a comedian point of view, there seems to be this mentality that we mustn't put our jokes out there, we mustn't put our
Yes.
performances out there. And
Yes.
then the marketing person was like, well, that's your product, so how do you expect to get noticed?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's like Nike releasing a new shoe, but just saying, oh, we're releasing a new shoe. Trust us, it's going to cost you
Yeah.
$1,000. It's amazing, but nobody gets to see what it looks
Yeah.
like,
No
and
reviews or anything.
yeah. So and when it was told to me like that, yes, I do know
Yeah.
that the comics, some of the comics think, yeah, but someone's going to steal my jokes, because that's a real thing that does happen.
Yes.
But Gino has always also said, like, well, then write a new joke. It's your job, like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think that that's all very true. We need to, I think the reason why influencers have the following that they do is because they're pushing out content, and we
Exactly.
as artists need to
Exactly.
push out content.
Yes.
Social media has changed the way people look at artists, the way people interact with artists,
Yes.
and we need to take advantage of that. Being someone who doesn't push content out there, you're harming yourself. I mean, if anyone is watching this wants to see my stand-up comedy, just go to my playlist stand-up comedy, and I have videos of me doing stand-up. You know,
Yes.
I should push it out more. I'll admit to that.
Yeah.
But it's there. It's there for your
Yes.
enjoyment.
Yes.
And yeah, I think maybe that's another big difference between influencer and performer.
Yeah. And like I mentioned in the beginning, because like I said, with the whole shift happened, what the one question I kept on being asked by clients and people who want to collaborate or people who just want to help me elevate my was always, do you have content? You see, so and like people mustn't take that for granted, that question, do you have content? Content, that's the main thing because that's how you sell your product, and that's exactly what these influencers are doing. And like we mentioned earlier on, every day they can push out something, whether it's the food that they're eating, whether it's just a picture of them wearing something, a nice outfit, but
A
the
polo
content is also
jacket.
polished. Yeah. So I think artists should also take note of that because oh, and here's another thing. Um, it's okay because a lot of artists understand, like, yeah, I'm not used to the whole thing, and a lot of them also find it maybe difficult to adjust to the whole videotaping all of your stuff and things like that. Get a team, invest in people that is going to help you. Like all of these people that you see that's so amazing, who's lifted up, they all have teams. They have people who support them. Get a team. Get someone who can do these things for you, who can do these videos and who can upload these things for you. Invest in your brand, invest in your business if it's that serious and you really want to take it that far. And if you want these achievements and you want to get what the influencers are getting, like I said, instead of hating on him, look at him and what are you doing around it? Oh, you got a team. Okay. Oh, you post at a certain time. Okay, okay. Oh, you do this and you do that. Okay, you got good content. But then look at yourself and be like, okay, maybe if I do that, not what, but post content, create content. So use your own art, use your own creativity, use your own powers, and just do it in your own way, and elevate yourself too, because they are not doing their thing; they're doing something right.
Mm.
So yeah, so it's not like they're doing the influencer thing; they are doing something right. So which means that we can also do it right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think again, we're not here. I want to make this clear again. We're not here to
Yeah.
bash on influencers or anything like that. I
Yes.
just think it's very important for people to have this discussion as well, to understand the difference between an influencer and a performer. That an influencer is good at what they do on social media. If I,
Yes.
for example, I'm a brand. I approach you. I see that you're an influencer or whatever. You do a lot of like funny skits on Instagram and social media,
Yes.
and then I come to you and I'm like, cool. I'll pay you X amount if you can just mention my brand or whatever. And then you do what you do on social media and you push it out there and you say, hey guys, go check out, Joe Emilio is really cool, blah, 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 blah. And then I make some money. Cool, awesome.
Yeah.
That's that, and then performance is different, and I think that's what
Yes.
we need to make very clear. I am happy I wish that guy, when I told him the whole thing, would have said, "Okay, cool, I'll come check it out and do." I would have been supportive. I would have been like, "Awesome, let's help you,
Yeah.
get in there," because I do think that a cross pollination, if I can put it that way, is a good thing.
Yes.
Because if I become good friends with an influencer, we might do a collaboration on something, and therefore, maybe some of my followers will see him, follow him, some of his followers follow me. That's something that the
Yeah.
YouTube community does very well. We're always
Yeah.
like going on each other's shows and sharing the pie, so to speak. Because, like you mentioned earlier,
Yes.
some performers think that the pie is small or that the pie
Yes.
is mine. It's my pie.
Yes.
I want my pie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they don't
Yeah.
realize that you're holding on to like an apple pie, but there's a blueberry pie, there's a raspberry
Yeah.
pie, there's an even bigger pie.
Yeah.
Like there's so many pies.
It's American Pie.
Yeah,
So-
there's so many pies that yours will be enjoyed and the
yeah.
others will be enjoyed. Because guess what? I can subscribe to more than one channel.
Yeah.
I don't have to just subscribe to one channel. You know what I mean? And I
Uh-huh.
think that's also something that performers forget. It's like put your
Yeah.
content out there because people
Yes.
enjoy. Like they may not stalk you. Well, I hope they don't.
Yeah.
But people, the markets, can enjoy more than one
Yeah.
performer. I mean, I
Yeah.
often say this to comedians as well. If I ask you who's your favorite comedian, are you going to give me one comedian, or are you going to give me like a whole list of comedians?
Yeah. I'll give you a feel because you learn from so many people.
Exactly, and it's the same with people. Like people enjoy more than
So,
one thing.
yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, true. And just wanted to touch on the whole content thing. Like, when we say put out content and focus on content, that's also something that you need to be aware of. Don't just put out random things. Like, for example, because some of your content can actually damage your brand or damage your chances of getting certain things. And also understand your brand, understand your target market, understand your message, and approach the right people.
Mm.
Don't be approaching a skater brand because you like the way they sneakers, but you're into painting,
Yeah.
and you're showing all or a bunch of painting on your Instagram and everything, and everyone's loving your painting, but you now approaching a skater brand, you're like, yo man, I want some shoe sneakers, shoe sponsors. I mean, you're like, you know what? So understand your brand, understand what it is that your language is speaking. You can be vast within your brand,
Mm.
like think of it as a theme, your brand as a theme, and
Yeah.
so many elements that support your theme. So be careful of what you post out there. Don't just be posting random things. Sometimes people think that if they post themselves, post things about laziness or swearing or just some things that's a bit like would make people uncomfortable. They
Politics.
confuse it with being authentic or being real.
Mm.
So there's different ways of being authentic and being real, and it doesn't have to hurt anyone or make anyone feel uncomfortable.
That's
So
yeah. That's definitely very true.
yeah,
I think also if you are the type of person that is, let's say, alternative, um, you're the kind of person like a Gareth Cliff or
yeah,
even me. I've become a lot more outspoken about my political views and thoughts and current affairs on
yeah,
South Africa and stuff like that. I know the risk. I know that some brands are
yes,
not going to want to work with me. I know that.
yes,
That's just a decision I made. But that's because I also want to be free
yes,
to produce the content I want to produce. If a brand doesn't want to work with me, that's fine because there will be a brand that will want to work with me.
very true.
The line that will be, or that shouldn't be crossed rather, is when, as whether you're an influencer or a performer, because this goes both ways. Uh, if you start using your powers, if I can put it that way, of influence to incite hatred
Yeah,
and terrible things that we shouldn't need or want to hear.
yeah,
And I think that's also to your point, like, know your market, know your brand, know your theme, but also like know your limits. Everybody likes an
Yes.
alternative guy. Everybody likes a normal guy. Everybody likes the normal narrative. Everybody likes everything, a bit of everything. But the moment you go radical on on anything, you know,
Yes. Yes.
then you're gonna lose people,
Yes,
no
that's
matter which
also,
spin.
yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank
Yeah.
you for bringing that up. Yes, and then yeah, if you've even heard thing called like there's a term for it called brand sluts. So don't just be like you everywhere. Like people don't know what you actually say. Who are you? What are you into? You know. So like yeah, like we said again, know your brand. You know your theme, know your strengths, and play on that. You know, don't just be anything and everything and everyone, because then we don't know if you're being real this time, or you're just doing this for money, or you're just doing this for whatever. It's just another gig to you, you know, because we, I mean, we see you as someone authentic. And if you can tell me like, yo, this makeup is dope, it's organic and 100%. And then next week you're like, hey, you got to use this stuff. It's alcohol based. And then like, whoa, but now you, so you're just doing this for the money,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Exactly.
know? Yeah.
Do that
So
again.
just make sure that your message. So just make sure that your message is clear. Yeah.
Man. All right, so I'm gonna get to some of the comments. A lot of everyone's agreeing with us. Robin Hassan saying, "Started from the bottom, now we're here," um, and a lot of people saying that they're scared of stage. They respect performers. Lunga is so calm, like he never raises his voice or gets mad.
Really? Oh, yes. That's so true.
It's just an observation from Robin Hassan saying that you're very calm. You don't get mad. Are
Yeah.
you trying to say that I get mad? Like,
No, that's on you, bro. I'm calm. I'm calm. Man.
and then she says, "That's true. Be consistent." Exactly. Look, I think for the most part, when people start out at this whole game of entertainment and influencers, they're all finding their feet at the beginning. But eventually, I mean, like when you're a comedian as well, when you start out, you're finding your feet. You're finding your voice, you're finding your style, you're finding your everything, your sense of humor. But with everything else, eventually, you do need to find a niche, a voice that is true, and that
Yes.
and I think also is very important. I think don't be a sellout. If you're someone if you're someone who really has certain beliefs,
Yes.
um, don't like
Mm,
for example, you're Muslim, you're a Muslim influencer, and
mhm.
someone, a bacon company, comes to you and offers like 2 million rand,
Yeah.
you know I'm not saying, like, again, I know that's a very murky and kind of gray area as well, because some Muslims are very religious and some others aren't,
Yeah.
and it's the same with drinking. Some drink, some don't. It's a personal choice. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. That's your own thing to deal with. But what I'm trying to say is, if you are someone who believes I shouldn't eat bacon,
Yeah.
it's against my religion, blah blah blah, and then a bacon company comes to you and says, "Well, I'm going to pay you 2 million if you promote my brand."
Yeah.
Stay true, because again, it causes that flip flop that Lunga is talking about. Like,
Yeah.
you praise this and praise that, but then you go and you sell
Yeah.
yourself. And it's a tough decision
Yes.
to make. Like,
I just want to touch on that. Sorry.
yeah,
I just want to touch on that what you said, because and that's very very important, because you need to understand what you are doing, or what you're selling, or what you're saying at the end of the day, because we don't know that you got 2 million for that gig. We just seeing you as a Muslim guy now. Why you ripping bacon now? Really? Is
mm,
it like that? So for example, like for me, in acting, I would never want to play roles of a rapist, or yeah, any gender-based violence or murder, that because I don't stand for those things,
that
and
is
I
a
don't want to
far more
play
better example than my stupid Muslim
yeah.
bacon analogy.
No, 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 no. No, what you said actually made me think of this. So I'm just trying to add on to your point,
Yeah,
actually. Nothing wrong at all, but like I wouldn't want to play those roles, because was like, I'm against those things, you know. I can't even stand it, even if in the movie I see it's a rape scene and it's going on for too long and they're actually being a bit graphic, you know, it makes
Yeah,
me
me
feel
too.
super uncomfortable.
Yeah,
So
me too.
I don't believe in that in my daily life, and I won't take a role that you can give me 10 million or whatever. I'll go Dave Chappelle on you. But yeah, so that's what you're basically saying, I guess. What you're basically saying,
Yes.
stay true to your beliefs and stay true to yourself. Don't just do it for the money. Because at the end of the day, people's not going to see that Lunga took 50 mil for that role. They're like, yo, Lunga, you played a rapist. That's what
Mm,
that's what you're
exactly.
selling at the end of the day, you know. That's what you're giving people at the end of the day, you
Mm.
know. That's
And
what you're
again,
putting out there.
that goes for influencers and performers, both ways.
Yes, yes, yes. Stay true to yourself, my man. Like, stay true to what you believe, stay true to who you are, and there is room for people like you. You don't have to sell out to
Mm,
be seen or to be counted or whatever. There is an opportunity, there is a place where you can excel in just being you.
exactly. And again, like it's gonna take time. This stuff, like anybody who wants to be an influencer or a performer of any kind, it's not gonna happen overnight. This whole, I don't know why people still think that like, oh, if I'm a good singer, if I'm a good comedian, if I'm a good rapper, I'm gonna become famous like
Yeah.
overnight. Never, ever, ever, ever gonna happen. I think, yes, there are
It's
some
time,
people that are,
experience.
yeah, there are some people that are very talented at what they do, if I
Yes.
can put it that way.
Yes.
And yes, they do excel quickly, absolutely,
Yeah.
but it's never an overnight thing. Never, ever. So
Yes.
anyone who
That, yeah.
comes to me, like I've had this a few times, like, well, how long does it take to become a comedian? There's no.
Like I would say my answer would be like, look, there are steps, there are things that you need to learn. There's timing, there's writing, there's stage presence and all of that stuff. It depends on if you're a fast learner and that up to you how quick or how you will achieve that levels. If I should put it in levels, like level one, writing. And if you can pick up that quickly and be like, oh, okay, I'm feeling that, sometimes it can take people a year to figure out how to write material. They've been just winging it all this time. And then that's why sometimes they get stuck and they
Mm,
be like, I don't know how to write, I don't know what to write. If you actually had a formula and if you knew exactly how to write, you could possibly write almost every day if you wanted to. So it
exactly.
takes, like, it took me almost 7 years or like most of my comedic career to figure out only now that I have a formula for writing and I can always write material now. Before this, I was just writing, I was feeling and I was winging it and I was just like trying to steal my eye and whatever. But now I can put it down and tell you this is exactly what I'm doing and I can actually teach it to you,
Mm,
you know? So it's up to you as an artist how much, how much, or as anybody, it's up to you how much you put in
yes.
for yourself to grow, but there are levels. So can't just quickly just jump there. With exactly what I said with the whole karate thing. You're gonna have to start as a white belt. You're gonna have to do the levels. And if you're taking longer to grasp the concepts and the techniques, you're just gonna have to maybe do another year as a white belt. But it usually takes a certain amount to learn this and to learn this and to learn that. Same with schooling. It takes a year to learn whatever you need to learn for grade 3. It takes a year to learn whatever you need to learn for grade 4 and whatever. But if you feel that you are struggling with grade 3, it might just take you 2 years to
Mm,
learn grade 3, and then you can only progress to grade 4. So it's up to you as a person. But there are steps. Do not jump steps.
yeah.
What they're seeing is the end result, and they think I can go from here to there.
Exactly. People don't realize that most comedians world that are internationally famous have actually been in the industry, or they became well known after they had been in the industry for at least 10 to 15, and in some cases 20 years of being a comedian. So it's not a quick road to fame. Most definitely is not.
Yeah.
Yes, some do get there quicker. There's other aspects, but for the most part, it's
Yes.
it's it's a long time. Even influencers. I don't think influencers just did a video and then overnight they hit
Yeah.
100K. Like
Yeah.
that's a lot
Wow.
of
They
content
got to
being
dig
pushed
deep.
out. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's the same. Okay, so we're nearing the hour. Is there anything that we may have missed that you maybe wanted to get to?
No. Well, And just one more thing. I'm also my phone battery is reaching the hour too.
Okay.
I got a notification here. Just one other thing that I would like to say for artists out there, and for just us, a lot of us in general, is that we should stop trying to do these things on our own. We should start to realize that collaboration is the way forward. That we should put our powers together. We are the industry.
Mm,
We fighting each other here and trying to look at the corporates and being like and hoping that they create us, hoping that they give us what we need, but we have exactly what we need. If you look at each other and you look at your friends and you look at your network, you have the videographers to the studios, to the platforms, to the coaches, to the mentors, to the spaces. You have every single thing. We have every single thing that we need. We just need to learn how to come together. Stop thinking, I need to do this for myself. I need to do that for myself. That is an old mindset that has been fed to us centuries back. And the world has evolved. Everything is evolved. And that mindset is still here. So we need to break that. And we need to come together. And we are the scene. We can create whatever we want to create. Stop waiting for things to happen, and stop shooting other people that's making things for themselves. Don't be pulling them down, because they've made something, or you've just seen the end result at the end of the day. So let's get together more, and let's create, let's collaborate and build more. That's the last thing I want to say.
Well, man, I agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that alone, what you just said, can be dissected. Because if we're real and honest, there are reasons why that doesn't happen. Unfortunately, I am very much for collaboration and working together and promoting and I mean, I promoted stand-up comedy for 10 years of my life, doing shows in northern suburbs and areas where no stand-up comedy was happening. I firmly believe in lifting the industry and creating opportunities and stuff like that. There are some comedians that are comics now that are doing very well, that I'm not saying that had I not done a show or in a specific area, or I didn't do comedy in a specific area, that they wouldn't be comedians now. Maybe they would have fallen into it a bit later in their life. But they were given an opportunity, they took it, and now they're making a name for themselves. So I'm all for that collaboration and working together. I think, though, maybe I should have you back on the show again to discuss the problems of why we're not getting to where we need to be.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my phone's about to go soon.
So yeah. So let's leave that for another discussion. But I do agree with you. Anyway,
Yes.
your phone is about to die. We've reached the hour anyway. So ladies and gentlemen, those of you that joined in, thank you so much. Please leave a like on this video. Please share it. If you know anyone that's a performer or an influencer, share the video with them. Let us know what they think. Comment in the section below. This has been Lunga Tshuka. Please go check him out. Lunga Tshuka. You can find him at the Energizer Funny, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Google him, you'll find him. He's a very entertaining man and very good with voices. If you haven't seen it, I had an interview with him not too long ago where we had a nice sit down in lockdown. We discussed his comedy career and his artist career as well. He's a very good beatboxer. You got to go check it out. All right, Lunga. If you can stay on the line, I'm going to sign off now. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back here tomorrow evening where you can check out some more of me, and I'm going to be discussing Afrikaans culture with Mikhail Kanaka. So I hope to see you there. If not, stay safe, be good to one another.
Goodbye, South Africa.
And I'll see you at the next one.